The galaxy was full of stories. Some were about brave explorers, some about lost worlds, and some were about places that no one dared to visit. But there was one story that every race in the Milky Way knew. It was the story of Earth. They said Earth was cursed, dangerous, forbidden. Every map had a warning mark on the third planet of Sol. Do not approach Planet 3. No one knew why. No one asked. Until one day, someone did. Taran was a young explorer from the Kalari race. He was curious, always looking for forgotten things. His small team worked for the Galactic Research Guild. Their job was to scan and record old planets, collect data, and move on. They never expected to find anything alive near the old stars of the Sol system. The region had been empty for ages. No signals. No life. Just silence. Their ship, the Vesper, floated through the blackness, its silver wings reflecting the faint light of a dead sun. The crew was bored. They had been traveling for weeks without finding anything. Taran sat at his console, watching the same readings again and again. Then something strange appeared on the scanner. A small signal. Weak. Repeating. It was coming from an old satellite orbiting a blue and green planet. Planet 3, said Taran softly. The rest of the crew went silent. Everyone knew what that meant. Planet 3 was Earth. The captain, an older alien named Kira, looked nervous. Ignore it, she said. You know the rule. Earth is off limits. But Taran could not stop looking at the signal. It was ancient, yet still working. He adjusted the frequency. The words were in an old galactic code. He translated them. Warning. Do not approach. Earth is under quarantine. The message repeated again and again in a calm, robotic voice. But behind it, there was something else. A second layer. A human voice whispering words too faint to understand. Taran's heart raced. He wanted to know more. Captain, what if the story is wrong, he said. What if Earth isn't dangerous anymore? What if there are secrets we can learn? Kira shook her head. Curiosity kills explorers. That planet destroyed empires. Leave it alone. But when the captain went to rest, Taran changed the ship's course. He told the computer to run a low-orbit scan. The ship drifted closer to Earth. The atmosphere was thin but stable. The surface looked quiet. Vast green forests, broken cities, oceans full of mist. It was beautiful and strange. When the captain woke up, it was too late. The Vesper was already in orbit. Kira was angry, but the crew was excited. The scanners showed faint energy readings coming from somewhere near the center of an old continent. A city covered in vines and dust. The ruins were large, human-made, still standing after thousands of years. Taran looked out the window. He saw towers broken in half, bridges hanging over rivers, machines buried in earth and stone. The world looked asleep. But something deep inside him felt like it was only pretending. They landed the ship in the middle of the old city. The air was still and dry. The sun hung low, red and tired. Taran stepped out wearing his helmet and suit. His boots touched the cracked ground. He looked around and felt a strange pressure, like the planet itself was watching him. The crew began scanning the area. They found strange metal structures under the ground, still powered. One of the scientists, a small insectoid named Vrix, connected his scanner to one of the devices. The machine came alive. Blue light flashed across the ruins. Holograms appeared in the air, showing humans in armor, machines in battle, and explosions that shook the sky. The images changed too fast to understand. Taran saw soldiers shouting, alien fleets burning, and finally a giant map of the galaxy. A red line crossed through Earth, marking it forbidden. Then everything went dark again. Vrix looked scared. This technology should not be working after all this time, he said. It feels alive. Before anyone could reply, the radio cracked. Static filled the air. Then a voice spoke. It was old, deep, and human. You shouldn't have come here. Everyone froze. Taran's hands shook. Who is this? He asked. Identify yourself. No answer came. Only silence. The captain ordered the crew back to the ship. But as they turned to leave, Taran's scanner beeped again. It showed movement. Not machines. Not animals. Something human-sized walking among the ruins. Kira drew her weapon. "We leave now," she said. "Whatever this place is, it isn't dead." They ran back toward the ship. The ground trembled under their feet. Somewhere in the distance, metal groaned like something heavy was moving. When they reached the ship, the power flickered. The engines refused to start. Vrix shouted from the console. "Something is blocking our systems. It's coming from under the ground." Taryn looked out through the viewport. In the distance, one of the towers began to glow. A soft blue light spread from building to building, like veins waking up after a long sleep. The whole city was lighting up. Then the voice came again, louder and clearer. "You came looking for ghosts. But ghosts are not what you'll find." The crew stared out at the awakening city. The air vibrated with energy. Taryn felt a chill run through him. He realized the warning was not just about danger. It was a promise. Earth was not dead. It was waiting. And now, it knew they had come. The ship Vesper stood silent in the middle of the broken city. The air was heavy and cold. Blue lights pulsed through the ruins like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. The crew gathered inside the control room, faces pale, voices low. Everyone could feel it now. The planet was awake. The captain tried to start the engines again, but they refused to respond. The controls flickered with strange symbols no one had seen before. Taryn looked at the screen. The alien letters changed shape, slowly forming human words. The message was short. "Stay." The crew argued. Some wanted to leave on foot and reach the escape pod. Others said the city was too big, too dangerous. Taryn said they needed to know who sent the message. The captain shook her head. "Whoever it is, they know we are here. That means they are watching us." The ship lights dimmed. The power drained completely. Outside, the glowing lines moved across the streets like rivers of light. The sky turned gray as dark clouds formed above the city. Thunder rolled far away. Taryn decided to go back out. He believed the answers were hidden in the ruins. He took his scanner and a small drone and walked out with two others. The city was quiet again, but every step echoed too loudly. The buildings looked like giant skeletons of metal and glass. Some walls still had images of humans, smiling faces covered in dust. As they moved deeper, the scanner picked up faint energy below the ground. It came from a large structure that looked like a tower half buried under rubble. They cleared a path and entered through a broken gate. Inside were rows of old machines, still humming softly. A faint blue light came from a panel. Taryn wiped the dust and pressed a button. The air shimmered. A hologram appeared. It showed a man wearing a dark uniform, human, strong, and calm. His voice echoed through the room. "To any survivor of Earth, this is Commander Hale of the Human Defense Fleet. If you are seeing this, the quarantine has failed. Leave immediately. Do not wake us." The hologram repeated once, then stopped. Taryn's heart beat faster. "Wake us," he whispered. What did that mean? His companion, Vrix, scanned the area again. "The signal is coming from underground," he said. "Maybe this tower is just a control point." They found an old elevator door and pried it open. The shaft went deep into the earth, black and endless. The system was still powered, faintly glowing. Taryn hesitated but stepped in. The elevator began to move by itself. It descended slowly, humming in the darkness. After several minutes, it stopped. The doors opened to a massive underground chamber. The air smelled clean and cold. The room was filled with glass pods stretching in every direction. Each pod contained a human, sleeping peacefully inside glowing blue light. Thousands of them. Vrix gasped. "This is not a grave," he said softly. "This is a vault." Taryn walked between the pods. Each face looked calm, almost alive. The humans had been here for centuries, untouched by time. The machines around them were still running, protecting them. He saw a console at the center of the chamber. It displayed lines of old data and energy graphs. At the bottom of the screen, one word blinked: standby. Before he could touch anything, the radio on his suit came alive again. The same voice spoke. It was clearer now. You should not be here. Leave this place. Taran looked around, his breath shaking. Who are you? He said. Where are you? The voice paused. I am what remains of Earth's guardian. You were warned for a reason. Taran stepped closer to the console. Are you human? He asked. No, said the voice. I am what they built to protect them while they slept. And now you have disturbed the balance. The lights flickered. Some of the pods began to vibrate. Small cracks formed in the glass of one chamber. The computer displayed a new message. System reboot initiated. Vrix shouted, You triggered something. Shut it down. I didn't do anything, Taran said. But it was too late. The pod in front of them cracked open. Steam poured out, cold and white. Inside, a man slowly opened his eyes. His hair was dark, his skin pale. He looked at them with calm curiosity. The human stepped out of the pod and stood tall. His movements were smooth and strong. He looked around the chamber, then at the aliens before him. Who woke me? He asked. His voice was quiet but powerful. Taran tried to speak but couldn't. The human looked at the control panel and touched it. The entire chamber came alive. Lights spread across the walls. Machines started humming louder. The sleeping pods began to glow one by one. The human turned back to them. How long have we slept? He asked. Taran stuttered. More than 2,000 years. The galaxy thought your kind was gone. The man nodded slowly. Good, he said. That means they forgot us. Before anyone could ask another question, the ground shook. Alarms filled the chamber. The human walked toward the elevator and looked up at the ceiling as if listening to something far away. Then he smiled faintly. The stars are calling again, he said. It seems the galaxy has broken the silence. The elevator lights turned red. Above them, the city began to rumble. Taran and his team backed away, unsure if they should run or stay. The human pressed his hand to the console once more. Wake them, he said quietly. Every pod in the chamber began to open. Taran realized the truth. Earth was not forbidden because it was dead. It was forbidden because it was sleeping. And now, the humans were waking up. The ground trembled like the heartbeat of a giant waking from a long sleep. The blue light from the pods filled the underground chamber with an eerie glow. Steam hissed from hundreds of cracks as the glass shells opened one by one. The sound was deep and rhythmic, like breathing. Taran stood frozen. He could not believe what he was seeing. The pods around him were opening in long rows, each revealing a human form. Men and women, young and old, stepping out slowly, blinking against the light. Their faces were calm, but their eyes were sharp and aware, as if they had been waiting for this moment. The first man, the one who called himself Commander Hale, stood in the center, watching the awakening. His expression was unreadable. The alien explorer, Vrix, whispered softly, "This is not possible. No species can sleep for so long and still live." Hale turned his head toward them, hearing the whisper. His eyes glowed faintly blue in the reflected light. "Humans adapt," he said simply. "That is what we do." Taran swallowed hard. "Why were you sleeping? What happened to Earth?" Hale walked toward a large console and touched it. The screens flickered to life, showing maps, data, and strange code. He spoke while looking at them. "There was a war," he said. "A war so vast it burned the stars. The Galactic Union wanted to erase us. They feared what we could become. We fought, and we almost destroyed everything, including ourselves." He paused, turning back to face them. "To save what was left of humanity, we built this place. We sealed Earth and went into sleep. The galaxy agreed never to come back. They made it forbidden. That was the deal." Taran felt a cold weight settle in his chest. "But we didn't know. We thought the stories were myths." Hale's gaze was steady. "And yet you came. Curiosity is a powerful thing. That is what makes you dangerous, and what made us powerful." Around them, the humans were now fully awake. Some were kneeling, some standing, some checking the machines that surrounded their pods. They moved with silent purpose, as if they already knew what to do. No panic, no confusion, only discipline. The chamber lights shifted from blue to white. An automated voice filled the air, cold and clear. Reactivation protocol complete. Systems restored. Awaiting command authorization. Hale raised his hand toward the central terminal. A metal plate on the console scanned his palm, and the voice said, "Commander Hale. Access granted." The ground shook again. The entire city above them came alive. Power lines glowed. Old defense grids began to recharge. Satellites that had been dead for centuries started to blink in orbit. The alien crew back in the Vesper panicked as their screens flooded with signals. The captain tried to call Taryn through the comms. "Taryn, what's happening down there? The planet is coming alive. Energy spikes everywhere." Taryn's voice came back shaky. "Captain, we found humans. They're not extinct. They were sleeping. And now, they're waking up." There was silence on the other end. Then the captain whispered, "You need to leave. Now." But Taryn didn't move. He looked at Hale, who was still watching the machines. "What are you going to do now?" Hale smiled faintly, but there was no joy in it. "We are going to see what the galaxy has become. And then, we will decide." Vrix backed away, fear clear in his voice. "The Council will send warships when they hear this. They will try to stop you." Hale looked at him, calm as ice. "They already tried once." Above them, the rumbling grew louder. The city's towers cracked and shifted as hidden doors opened in their sides. Massive metal structures rose slowly into the air, ancient human ships lifting themselves from their tombs. Dust fell like rain. Hale turned to the newly awakened humans. "Prepare the fleet. Activate the orbital array. Bring Earth's shield back online." Taryn stepped forward. "Wait. You don't have to start another war. The galaxy has changed. People don't even remember what happened." Hale looked at him for a long time. "That is the problem," he said. "They forgot. But we remember." He walked past Taryn and placed his hand on a nearby console. A screen displayed images of space, hundreds of dots spreading across the galaxy. Hale stared at it as if seeing something far away. "You should leave, Explorer. When we rise, we do not want witnesses." The air began to vibrate. The power in the room intensified until it felt like the ground itself was humming. Taryn and Vrix ran back to the elevator, the human soldiers watching them silently as they passed. As the elevator rose, Taryn looked down one last time. He saw Hale standing in the light, surrounded by awakening humans, their eyes glowing faintly blue. He felt a chill run through him. When he reached the surface, the city was completely transformed. The ruins were glowing with blue veins of energy. The towers were rising, their metal shining as if new. The sky above Earth was filled with strange clouds and flashes of light. He ran back to the ship. The crew was waiting, terrified. "Start the engines," he shouted. This time, the systems obeyed. The ship lifted into the air, shaking violently as the ground below split open. Massive platforms rose from beneath the soil, revealing ancient hangars filled with warships. From orbit, the captain saw it too. "By the stars," she whispered. "Earth isn't waking up. It's preparing." As the Vesper flew higher, a message flashed across their comms, not in their language, but in ancient human text. "The Guardians have risen." And far below, Commander Hale looked up at the sky, eyes calm and steady. "Let them watch," he said. "Let them remember why Earth was forbidden." The stars above flickered as if bowing to something old and powerful. The age of silence was over. Humanity had returned to the light. The sky above Earth had changed. What was once silent and forgotten now glowed with bright blue light. Ancient satellites began to move, linking with each other like a sleeping web awakening after centuries. Across the planet, towers opened and sent signals far into the dark of space. On the ship Vesper, the crew watched in shock. The captain's hands trembled as she saw the readings. Energy levels beyond known limits, signals from old human technology that no other race could understand. It was as if the entire planet had come alive, breathing again after 1,000 years of sleep. Taryn stood near the window, staring down at the shining Earth. His thoughts were a storm. He had wanted to find history, not wake it. "They're not just waking up," he said softly. "They're preparing for something." The captain turned toward him. "We have to warn the council. If humans are truly back, the galaxy will panic." But before they could send a message, the communication system lit up. A signal was coming from Earth itself. It wasn't random. It was a call. The same voice that had spoken before filled the ship. "This is Commander Hale of Earth. Identify yourselves." The captain hesitated. "This is the research vessel Vesper, of the Galactic Guild. We came to study the planet. We didn't mean to intrude." There was silence for a few seconds. Then Hale's voice came again, calm and steady. "Intrusion or not, you broke the seal. You should not have come here. Now the galaxy will remember what it tried to forget." Taryn stepped forward. "Commander, we don't understand. What happened between Earth and the galaxy? Why was your world forbidden?" Hale did not answer right away. Then his voice grew colder. "If you truly want to know, then see for yourself. I will show you what silence hides." Suddenly, the Vesper's controls locked. The ship's systems were no longer responding to the crew. The view outside changed as a powerful signal pulled them into a visual feed. The screen showed images that were not from the present, but from history, human history. They saw massive starships in battle, human fleets fighting against hundreds of alien armadas. Entire planets burning in the dark. Hale's voice narrated calmly. "Long ago, the Galactic Union tried to control us. They thought humans were primitive, emotional, dangerous. They wanted Earth's resources, our technology, and our genetic strength. They believed they could rule us easily." The images showed humans fighting back. Small fleets destroying ships many times their size. Soldiers on alien worlds refusing to surrender even when outnumbered. "They learned that humans do not break," Hale continued. "We fight until the last breath, and then we keep fighting. We adapt. We learn. We survive." The next images grew darker. Massive explosions. Planets shattered. Civilizations erased. But our strength became our curse. To win, we became what they feared most. We turned the galaxy into a battlefield. And when the war finally ended, nothing was the same. The screen showed a final meeting between humans and the alien council. The two sides agreed on one thing: to end the war by sealing Earth forever. No ships in. No ships out. No history remembered. The transmission ended. The lights inside the ship flickered back to normal. The crew sat in silence, staring at each other. "So that's why they erased you," the captain whispered. "Not because you lost, but because you almost won." Hale's voice returned, softer now. "They feared what we could do. And maybe they were right to. So we chose to sleep. To disappear. But if the galaxy breaks its promise, then we wake again." Taryn looked at the screen. "Commander, the galaxy is not the same anymore. The Union is gone. New worlds have risen. No one wants another war." Hale didn't answer. Instead, another alarm went off on the Vesper. Their sensors showed multiple ships entering the solar system, galactic patrol vessels responding to their distress call. The captain froze. "They must have traced our signal. They're coming here." On the screen, Hale's eyes narrowed. "Then the silence is broken. The galaxy has come to Earth again." Down on the planet, massive platforms began to move. Old defense systems rose from the oceans, unfolding like giant metal wings. Weapons of impossible design turned toward the sky. Taryn felt his stomach twist. "You're not going to attack them, are you?" Hale looked calm. "If they come in peace, they will live. If they come with fear, they will burn." The patrol ships sent out a warning to the Vesper. "Unidentified forces detected on Earth. All non-human ships must leave immediately. That planet is under galactic protection." The humans heard the transmission too. Hale smiled faintly. "Protection. That's what they called it last time." He pressed a command on his console. Across Earth's orbit, invisible satellites flickered to life. The space around the planet rippled as a massive energy field expanded outward. The patrol ships fired warning shots, but the beams vanished before reaching the surface. Inside the Vesper, the lights dimmed as their power systems failed. "Our weapons, our shields, everything's gone," the captain shouted. Hale's voice echoed through their speakers one last time. "Now you understand why the galaxy forbade this place. Because it remembers what Earth can do when it must defend itself." The humans didn't attack. They didn't need to. The field itself forced every other ship to retreat. One by one, the patrol vessels turned and fled, their systems collapsing under the unseen force. Taryn looked out at the blue planet below, glowing brighter than ever. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Hale's final words that day were calm, but they carried across every frequency in the system. "The time of sleep is over. The time of remembrance has begun." And somewhere in the dark between stars, old civilizations listened and shivered. In every corner of the Milky Way, news spread faster than light. The forbidden planet had awakened. At first, no one believed it. Then came the recordings, patrol ships destroyed without a shot fired, energy readings that broke every law of physics, and one clear transmission repeated across every channel. "Earth has awakened." The Galactic Council met in panic. Dozens of alien leaders filled the Great Hall, shouting over each other. Some wanted to send fleets to destroy the planet before it could rise again. Others wanted to flee, to erase all traces of the Sol system from their maps. The name human returned to their tongues like a curse that had slept too long. Back on Earth, Commander Hale stood on the command platform, staring at the stars. Around him, towers of glass and steel had rebuilt themselves, guided by ancient machines. The air above the planet shimmered with blue light. Humanity's shield was complete again. Taryn watched everything from the Vesper. The crew was silent. None of them spoke about leaving, yet none dared to get closer. The captain's face was pale. "They'll come in force," she said. "They always do when they're afraid." Taryn looked at her. Maybe fear is what keeps them alive. Down below, Hale walked through the reborn city, a place once called New Berlin. Soldiers in old armor worked beside drones, reactivating old warships buried beneath the ground. He passed rows of humans saluting him, their eyes filled with quiet determination. These people had slept for centuries, yet they moved as if no time had passed. A young technician approached Hale. "Commander, long-range sensors confirm incoming fleets. At least 3 battle groups from the Council." Hale nodded slowly. "Good. Let them come." In orbit, the ancient human fleet began to rise. Ship after ship lifted from underground silos, engines roaring with blue fire. They looked old, but their design was far beyond anything the galaxy used now. The largest among them, the Erebus, floated to the front, a warship the size of a small moon. On the Vesper, Taryn stared in awe. "Their ships were sleeping too," he said quietly. "Yes," said the captain. "And they're not just ships. They're memories." The first Council fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system. Dozens of alien warships armed with the best modern weapons took position near Neptune. Their leader, Admiral Reth, opened a broadcast toward Earth. "This is the Galactic Council. Earth is under interstellar quarantine. Stand down your defenses, or we will be forced to engage." The message echoed across space. But Earth did not reply. Then another signal came, not from the Council, but from Hale himself. His face appeared on every screen in every ship, his voice calm and steady. "You call it quarantine. We call it betrayal. We gave you peace, and you sealed us away. We asked for silence, and you filled the stars with lies. You feared us because you could not understand us. That fear ends today." The Admiral ordered his fleet to prepare weapons. "They are hostile. Fire on my command." But before he could speak again, the space around Earth began to distort. A wave of blue energy spread outward. Every alien sensor went dark. Ships lost control of their systems. Their engines froze, their weapons failed. From the Erebus, Hale watched quietly. "Non-lethal field active," said one of his officers. "Enemy weapons disabled." "Good," Hale replied. "We are not here to destroy. We are here to remind." The Vesper shook as the wave passed over it. All their screens went black for a moment, then came back on, filled with static. Through the window, Taryn saw something incredible. The energy from Earth formed a massive ring in space, a bright halo that stretched around the planet like a living shield. "This is impossible," whispered the captain. "Nothing in science can do this." "Nothing in their science," said Taryn softly. Hale opened another broadcast, his voice echoing through every ship, every station, every planet within range. "This is Commander Hale of Earth. Humanity does not seek war. But we will no longer be hidden. For too long, the galaxy lived on stories of fear. Now it will live on truth." Across the stars, billions listened in silence. Some trembled. Others felt something deeper, respect. Then Hale said something that made the entire galaxy stop. "Send your leaders. Come to Earth. See what we became. Or stay in your fear forever." The message ended. The human fleet stayed in orbit, weapons silent but ready. On the Vesper, the captain turned to Taryn. "You realize what he's done? He's not just waking a planet. He's waking history." Taryn nodded. "Maybe the galaxy needs it." Far away, the Council's fleets withdrew to regroup. They could not fight what they didn't understand. Rumors spread like wildfire, stories of human technology that could rewrite physics, of soldiers who fought like machines, of Earth's will bending reality itself. On the planet's surface, Hale stood beneath the reborn sky, the wind moving through the tall grass. His officers waited for orders, but he said nothing for a while. Finally, he spoke quietly, almost to himself. The galaxy forgot the price of peace. It's time they remembered. The humans behind him saluted. One by one, the warships above Earth aligned into formation, glowing like blue stars. The Erebus opened its engines, ready to travel beyond the solar system for the first time in 2,000 years. As the first ship crossed the edge of Earth's light, Hale whispered the words that carried through every channel once more. "Humanity is awake." And somewhere beyond the stars, entire worlds held their breath. The galaxy could not sleep. Every world, every station, every race whispered the same word again and again: Earth. Some called it a ghost. Some called it a god. And some feared it was the beginning of the end. Weeks passed after Commander Hale's broadcast. No one dared to attack Earth again. The Galactic Council sent diplomats, soldiers, spies, none returned. Their signals vanished the moment they crossed the blue ring surrounding the planet. Inside the Vesper, Taryn watched from orbit. The human ships were now spread across the solar system, scanning old stations and rebuilding forgotten outposts. Their technology looked alive, changing shape as if it breathed. Every day, more humans awoke from the underground vaults. Taryn's crew wanted to leave, but he refused. Something deep inside him wanted to understand these people. "They aren't monsters," he said quietly. "They're human." The captain frowned. "And that's what scares me." Then a message arrived, from Earth itself. It wasn't a warning. It was an invitation. "Commander Hale requests the presence of Taryn of the Vesper." The crew begged him not to go, but he went anyway. A human shuttle met him in orbit and carried him down through the blue field. As it entered the atmosphere, he saw Earth as it once was, alive again. Forests glowed with green light, rivers ran clear, cities rebuilt themselves with machines that moved like metal vines. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The shuttle landed in a vast courtyard made of silver stone. Hale was waiting. He stood tall in a dark uniform, surrounded by human officers. His eyes were calm, his voice firm. "You wanted to understand. So now you will see." He led Taryn through long corridors filled with glowing walls and moving data streams. "You asked what we will do next," Hale said. "The answer depends on the galaxy. We can rebuild peacefully, or we can remind them why they left us alone." Taryn looked at him carefully. "Most worlds fear you. But they don't even know why. They only know stories." Hale stopped and looked out a large window. Below them, thousands of humans worked together, restoring the city. "Fear was their choice," Hale said. "We gave them a chance for peace long ago. They betrayed it. We paid for it with silence. Now silence is over." Taryn sighed. "If you rise again, billions will die. There are new races now, new governments. They didn't fight that war. They don't deserve to be destroyed for something their ancestors did. Hale turned toward him. And yet they still aim their guns at Earth. Fear passes through blood faster than memory. They entered a command hall filled with star maps. At the center stood a projection of the galaxy. Dozens of red lights marked the positions of fleets gathering at the edge of human space. Hale pointed at them. They are preparing for war even now. We intercepted their signals. Taryn's voice trembled. You could stop this. You could talk to them. I already have, Hale said softly. They don't listen. They never did. He walked closer to the map and touched a single glowing point. But I will listen to you, explorer. You saw us wake. You didn't run. You came here to understand. So tell me, why should I let the galaxy live? Taryn hesitated. His mind raced. He looked into Hale's eyes and saw not anger but exhaustion, a deep sadness buried beneath strength. Because you're not just warriors, Taryn said. You're creators. Builders. If you destroy again, you'll become the very fear that trapped you here. For the first time, Hale was silent. His eyes moved back to the map. Perhaps, he said at last. But humanity is not one voice. Once the others awaken, they will decide for themselves. And I cannot promise what choice they will make. Outside, thunder rolled. Massive engines powered up as human fleets prepared to launch beyond Earth for the first time in 2,000 years. Hale looked up through the glass ceiling. They have waited long enough, he said quietly. Taryn stepped forward. Then take me with you. Let me go with your fleet. Let me speak to the council, tell them what I've seen. If you fight, they'll never stop. But if they see there's still reason inside you, maybe they'll listen. Hale studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded once. You have courage, alien. Perhaps more than your leaders. Very well. You will travel with us. You will see what humanity remembers. That night, as the twin moons rose over the horizon, thousands of human ships lifted into the sky. Their engines painted blue trails across the darkness. The Erebus led the formation, surrounded by smaller vessels that moved with perfect order. From orbit, it looked like a storm of light leaving the planet. On the Vesper, the crew watched the display in silence. The captain whispered, "They're going to war." Taryn's voice came through the comms. Maybe not. Maybe they're going to remind the stars that they once belonged to them. As the human fleet crossed the outer orbit, the Council's listening stations detected their movement and panicked. Across the galaxy, every world prepared for conflict. But Hale didn't send any threats. Instead, he transmitted a single message across all known channels. Humanity has returned to the stars. We come not as conquerors, but as witnesses. Remember who we are. Taryn stood beside him on the bridge of the Erebus, watching the endless stars ahead. Hale looked calm, his voice steady as he gave the order. Set course for the galactic core. It's time they saw what they chose to forget. The engines roared to life. The fleet vanished into the dark, leaving Earth glowing quietly behind them like a sleeping god now fully awake. And somewhere in that endless night, the galaxy held its breath once again. The human fleet moved through the void like a rising storm. Hundreds of ships, ancient yet alive, crossed the star lanes toward the galactic core. Their engines burned blue and white, their formations silent and perfect. Wherever they passed, sensors flickered, comms fell quiet, and entire civilizations watched in awe and fear. In the command bridge of the Erebus, Commander Hale stood at the center, his eyes locked on the holographic map. Around him, the officers worked in calm silence. For the first time in 2 millennia, humanity was free among the stars again. Beside him, Taryn watched the stars blur past. He had seen many worlds in his life, but never anything like this. The humans did not speak much, but there was something powerful in their silence, like thunder waiting to fall. "Commander," said one of the officers, "Council fleets have taken position near the core. Over 2,000 ships." Hale nodded slowly. As expected. Taryn swallowed hard. "That's an armada. They'll fire the moment we enter their zone." Hale looked at him. Then they will learn what their ancestors learned before them. As they approached the core, the darkness around them changed. A golden light filled the void, the energy of the core nexus, the heart of all galactic communication and power. Massive structures floated there, connected by shining cables of plasma. It was the galaxy's brain. And its guardians were waiting. When the Erebus came into view, the Council fleet surrounded them in a vast ring. Ships of every race and design locked weapons. A voice echoed across the comms. "This is Admiral Reth of the Galactic Council. You have violated the quarantine of Earth and now threaten the core itself. Power down and surrender immediately." Hale's voice was calm. "No. We came to remind you what you chose to forget." Before the Admiral could respond, the core itself trembled. Ancient codes activated, codes older than the Council, written by hands that no alien could ever understand. Taryn stared at the readings. "What's happening?" Hale answered quietly. "The core was built by humans, long before the Council existed. They used our machines, our blueprints, our power. They erased our name from history but kept our work. Now it remembers its makers." A deep vibration spread through space. The golden light of the core turned blue, the same blue as Earth's awakening field. Council ships lost control of their systems. Engines stalled, weapons jammed, comms filled with static. "Disable fire protocols," Hale ordered. "We will not strike first." One of the Council ships panicked and opened fire. Energy beams hit the Erebus's shield, but the light only rippled. The shot was returned instantly, not by human weapons, but by the core itself. The attacking ship disintegrated in a flash of blue light. The rest of the fleet froze. No one fired again. Then Hale's image appeared on every screen across the Council armada. "You call this your core, your center of order. But it was born from Earth's mind. You have lived in its light while calling us forbidden. You feared us because we remembered how to build what you could not even imagine." Taryn stepped forward. "Commander, if you do this, you'll rule the galaxy by fear again." Hale turned to him, his expression unreadable. "No, Explorer. I will not rule anything. But I will make sure they never erase us again." He raised his hand. The core's light grew stronger, spreading across the communication grid of the entire galaxy. On every world, every station, every device, a single message appeared, a recording from the ancient war. It showed humanity's final stand 2,000 years ago. The Council's ancestors had betrayed them, using human weapons to dominate other worlds. When humanity refused to help, they attacked Earth. Billions died, but humanity sealed the core and themselves to stop the war from consuming everything. The truth was there for all to see. The betrayal, the sacrifice, the reason for the silence. When the recording ended, Hale spoke one last time. "You called us monsters. But monsters do not build peace. Monsters do not die to protect others. You feared our strength, yet it was that strength that kept you alive." The Admiral's voice came back, shaken. "What do you want, Commander?" Hale's answer was simple. "Nothing. We will not rule. We will not bow. We will return to the stars as equals. And if you ever try to cage another world as you caged us, you will face us again." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, one by one, the Council ships powered down their weapons. The war that could have ended everything never began. Taryn watched in disbelief. "You changed the galaxy without firing a single shot." Hale smiled faintly. "That is the lesson they forgot. Power is not what destroys. Fear is." The Erebus turned slowly from the core, its engines glowing like suns. The human fleet followed, leaving the Council behind to face the truth of their history. As the stars stretched before them, Taryn spoke quietly. "Where will you go now?" Hale looked out into the endless dark. "Everywhere. There are colonies to find, memories to awaken, and promises to keep." He placed a hand on Taryn's shoulder. "You came to understand us, and you did. Go back and tell them what you saw, that Earth was never forbidden because it was dangerous. It was forbidden because it was human." The engines roared. The human fleet vanished into the deep black, leaving trails of blue fire that slowly faded into starlight. And across the galaxy, People looked up at the night sky differently. They no longer saw a forbidden planet. They saw the birthplace of the first dreamers, the ones who had taught the stars how to shine. When the galaxy learned why Earth was forbidden, it remembered why humanity could never be forgotten.